He was the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, the highest-paid actor in Hollywood, a global icon whose smile could light up a stadium. For 3 decades, Dwayne Johnson has been the embodiment of strength, success, and invincibility. But behind the million-dollar smile lies a story that few people know. A body that has been pushed to its absolute limit. A mind that has battled darkness and silence. A heart that carries the weight of a father he never truly reconciled with. And a recent health scare that brought him face to face with his own mortality. At 54, Dwayne Johnson has finally started to open up about the hidden struggles behind his larger-than-life persona. And what he has revealed is beyond heartbreaking. Before he was The Rock, before he was a movie star, Dwayne Johnson was just a boy trying to survive. The son of a wrestler and a showgirl, he grew up in a world that was as unstable as it was unforgiving. His father, Rocky Johnson, was a wrestling legend. But behind the glory, there was pain. Rocky had been homeless by the age of 13. His capacity for love was very limited, and that's the man that raised me, Johnson would later confess. The father-son relationship was complicated, defined by tension, by silence, and by a love that was always just out of reach. And it would end in a way that would haunt Johnson for the rest of his life. On Christmas Eve 2019, Johnson and his father got into a massive fight over the phone. It was the last conversation they would ever have. Just weeks later, Rocky Johnson passed away suddenly on January 15, 2020. He died suddenly, just like that, Johnson said, snapping his fingers. He never got a chance to say goodbye. The pain of that unresolved fight has never truly gone away. Man, I just wish that I could hug him one more time and kiss him on the cheek and look him in the eyes and say, "We're good. We're good," Johnson lamented. He had stopped speaking to his father after their argument. "It wasn't good," he admitted. "I regret not reconciling our complicated father-slash-son before I lost him." Johnson was about to start shooting the Netflix film Red Notice when he got the call from a family friend informing him that Rocky had died. 6 days later, he found himself at a podium delivering his father's eulogy. All that other you realize it just doesn't matter when they're gone, especially when they're gone. Whatever you were arguing about, it really doesn't matter. You start to realize, man, my dad loved me with all he had. I didn't realize that until much later in life. And once he was gone, I really realized that. He urged others not to make the same mistake. So if you've got your old man around, get uncomfortable and pull him aside and say, "Let's do our best to kind of squash this." In the effort of trying, you should reach a new place of love. If the emotional wounds were invisible, the physical ones were impossible to hide. Dwayne Johnson has put his body through absolute hell for decades. And now, at 54, the bill has come due. He has endured 4 knee surgeries, along with tears in his Achilles, quad, and adductor muscles. He has suffered 2 lower back disc ruptures and a torn abdominal wall. He has undergone countless other surgeries that he doesn't even talk about. The body that once seemed indestructible is now held together by surgeries and sheer willpower. Johnson showed fans the price of his craft when he revealed a gruesome elbow injury from filming The Smashing Machine. "It looks like a cantaloupe at the end of my elbow," he said of the massive fluid-filled bump. "It's called The Smashing Machine for a reason," he joked, masking the pain. Even training for his return to WWE at WrestleMania 40 took a toll. He was 52 years old, pushing his body like he was still in his 20s. And then, his digestive system completely collapsed. In early 2024, Johnson's digestive tract, which had been struggling for years, completely broke down. "I was thinking, holy how am I going to get through this with my gut issues? I'm not digesting properly," he admitted. The problem was so severe that he had to seek help from Dr. Mark Hyman, who basically rehabbed Johnson's gut with probiotics and plant compounds. But the most terrifying moment came earlier this year. While taking a shower, Johnson discovered a really painful lump in his left testicle. He hoped the discomfort would subside. Instead, it got worse. And despite the fear gnawing at him, he didn't tell a soul. "I didn't even tell Lauren," he said, referring to his wife, Lauren Hashian. "I didn't want to worry her before I knew if it was anything to even worry about." When he finally saw his doctor, the news was chilling. It could be epididymitis, an inflammation of a tube at the back of the testicle. Or it could be cancer. Johnson was told to get an ultrasound immediately, But first, he had to spend an entire day promoting the new Jumanji film alongside Kevin Hart and Jack Black. So I had to live with that for those 24 hours, not knowing. And I had to be on all day, joking around, making speeches. Fortunately, an ultrasound later confirmed that Johnson did not have cancer. It was just epididymitis. But the fear he experienced during those 24 hours was real. And the fact that he kept it all to himself, suffering in silence while putting on a brave face for the world, is a heartbreaking glimpse into the pressure he lives under. Johnson's heartbreak extends far beyond his own health. Over the past 2 decades, he has lost 15 friends to addiction and suicide. Over the past 2 decades, I lost exactly 15 friends to addiction and suicide, who just couldn't handle the pressure, he revealed. In a way, The Smashing Machine is a love letter to the men and women who struggle, who have made it on the other side, and who didn't. The film, which tells the story of UFC legend Mark Kerr, became a deeply personal project for Johnson. It forced him to confront the darkness he had been carrying for years. And then there was the trauma he had witnessed as a child. When Johnson was just 15 years old, his mother, Ada, attempted suicide. She walked into oncoming traffic on Interstate 65 in Nashville. "My mom tried to check out when I was 15, Johnson wrote. She got out of the car on Interstate 65 in Nashville and walked into oncoming traffic. He grabbed her and pulled her back. But the memory never left him. The depression that followed was overwhelming. I didn't know what mental health was. I didn't know what depression was. I just knew I didn't want to be there." While the world saw a man who had conquered everything, Johnson was fighting battles that nobody could see. He has struggled with depression at multiple points throughout his life. After his divorce from his first wife, Dani Garcia, in 2007, he experienced another bout of depression. "At that time, I was really going through it," he admitted. Despite being one of the most successful people on the planet, Johnson has admitted that he still struggles with the pressure of his fame. "I'm not a big therapy guy," he confessed. "I bottle up inside me, like a lot of guys, which I recognize is not the healthiest thing to do." But he has also encouraged others to reach out for help. "If you need help, reach out. It doesn't make you weak. That's your superpower." He learned one universal fact in life. Everyone is going through something. He urged people not to judge others too quickly, stressing that empathy and kindness matter deeply. When a fan broke down in tears during one of his talks, Johnson paused and asked, "You okay, brother?" He spoke with him privately about his battle with depression. Help him through it, get him talking about the struggle, and remind him that they're not alone. At 54, Dwayne Johnson has achieved more than most people could ever dream of. He has conquered Hollywood, become a global icon, and built a fortune that will last for generations. But behind the success lies a story that is beyond heartbreaking. A father he never truly reconciled with before it was too late. A body that has been pushed to its absolute limit, held together by surgeries and sheer willpower. A health scare that brought him face to face with his own mortality. 15 friends lost to addiction and suicide. A mother he watched try to take her own life. A mind that has battled depression in silence, even as the world saw only success. But here's the thing about Dwayne Johnson. He's still standing. Despite everything, he's still fighting. He's still showing up. He's still trying to be better. "I know a lot of guys out there, like me, had a very complicated relationship with their dad," he once said. "And now we're in this club where our dads are walking in the clouds." He's learned that the most important thing isn't the muscles, the money, or the fame. It's the connections we make, the love we give, the people we hold close. "I've reached this point in my life where I feel like I've worked hard to just be at peace." Dwayne Johnson may be one of the most successful people on the planet, but his story is a reminder that success doesn't shield you from pain. That strength isn't just about what you can lift, but what you can carry. And that sometimes the hardest battles are the ones nobody sees. The body may be breaking, the heart may be heavy, but the spirit remains unbreakable. That is the real story of Dwayne Johnson. That is the tragedy, and that is the triumph.